to my top 40 games of all time. We are into my top 20 now, so this really is the best of the best. So let's get started at number 20. At number 20, I have Otama. Now, Otama is the last of my strictly two-player games on my list, but by God, it is an excellent game. So Otama is basically a very streamlined version of chess, where the moves you can take are constantly changing between you and your opponent, depending on the cards you use. It's just very streamlined, very elegant, and just a real kind of thinky brain burner of a game where you really have to be careful with each move you take, because the grid is only a 5x5 grid, and the smallest mistake can mean the end of your game. So a really great experience in a very succinct amount of time. That's Otama, a truly excellent two-player game. At number 19, I have Blood Rage. Now, Blood Rage is an excellently produced game. It has some of the best miniatures I've ever seen, and basically the whole production is absolutely fantastic. But not only does it look great and feel great, but the game itself and the mechanics are fantastic too, because you've got a bit of card drafting in there, you've got some great combat, and you've also got a bit of area control as well. So it has loads of cool components to it, loads of great exciting moments, great clashes between these rival Viking clans, and it also has several great strategies as well, which you can take and try a different thing each time. So it's a very well-rounded game, a good amount of depth, and it plays in a fantastic amount of time too, because it only takes about an hour or so to play. So a really, really fantastic game, and one that I definitely recommend. And I've also done a video for this one, so check that out as well. So that's Blood Rage, my number 19. At number 18, I have Sherlock Holmes, Consulting Detective. Now, this really isn't a board game, it's more of an activity, or a kind of a group activity, where you're given a kind of a blurb of text, and you've got to go out and visit all these different locations, which are in this manual, and kind of get in more and more information to try and learn more and more about the case. And it's just so well done. It's a very clever game, and the writers of these cases are absolutely genius, because there's like false leads, and you've got to kind of weed through the pertinent information and the stuff that you've got to kind of dismiss. It's really, really clever. I will warn you, it's very, very difficult at times. Some of the clues which lead to breaking the case are very tenuous. But overall, it's just a great experience, and you really get invested in the theme. You know, all the text is very well written. You become attached to the characters, and it's just really, really good. A fantastic experience, and one that I definitely recommend for a more kind of chilled out kind of mystery night. It's very, very good, and yeah, a great experience. So that's Sherlock Holmes, Consulting Detective. At number 17, I have Captain Sonar. Now, this game I describe as battleships on steroids. It's a real-time game where one team of players is trying to take on another team of players, and they've all got their own submarine. And they've got to work together by one player's going to be the captain, one's going to control all the gadgets and weapons, one's going to be the engineer, one's going to try and find out where the other one is, where the other submarine is. And it's just an absolute riot. It's chaotic, but it's brilliant. Honestly, the idea for this game is so original, and it just plays really well. There's no downtime at all, because you're constantly listening to what the other team are doing. You're going to be fully immersed in the experience, and it just does feel like a real submarine battle. Honestly, this game is fantastic, and I recommend you check a video of this out, because if you don't know it exists, I reckon it's going to really appeal to people who like a real kind of high energy game. It only plays in about half an hour, and it's so addictive. You just want to play again and again. Just a fantastic experience again. So that's Captain Sonar. At number 16, I have Camel Up, which was a Spiel des Jahres winner in 2014. Now, in this game, you're going to be betting on camels during a camel race, and you're going to be playing cards to basically guess who's going to win the entire race. You're going to be betting on who's going to win the leg of the race. You're going to be giving them a push forward or push backwards, and it's a very simple game, as you'd expect from a Spiel des Jahres nominee, but it's just such good fun. A real kind of great party game, because you can play this with I think it's like 12 players with the expansion, and it's just a great fun atmospheric game where you get really invested and kind of try to cheer your camel along and try to hinder all the other camels. It's very, very good fun, and I've had huge success playing this game with a wide variety of different players. I mean, I consider my gaming group quite an experienced bunch of gamers, and they absolutely love this game, as do I. Very simple, but it's just really entertaining. It lasts really quickly, so you can use it as a filler game, but it's just very, very engaging, as I said. The game, each turn plays very quickly, so there's very little downtime, and it just feels really compelling, and some of the photo finishes you can get are absolutely fantastic and just really exciting. So that's Camel Up, my number 16 best game of all time. At number 15, I have Sheriff of Nottingham. Now, this is another very simple game, but this one's based on bluffing. Basically, one player is going to take the role of the sheriff each round, and every other player is going to have a bunch of goods, and some of those goods are contraband. And they've got to put those goods secretly into a little bag. They can kind of sneak contraband in that bag, and they've got to try and get them past the sheriff, because the sheriff is going to basically choose to check those bags or not check those bags. And if any contraband is found when the sheriff is searching the bags, then that player has to pay a fine to the sheriff. But if the sheriff searches the bag and there's no contraband in there at all, then he has to pay the player. So that's basically what this game depends on. It is a very player-dependent game, but if you have the players in the right mindset and kind of play along with the theme and try to roleplay a bit, it is absolutely hilarious. I've played this so many times, and it's always been a huge hit. Everybody loves it. People request this game. It's just so simple to pick up, and you can learn the rules in about a minute, but enjoy it for hours. It's just a brilliant game where you can try and lie to your friends, or basically those tough decisions when you are the sheriff to try and choose whether to search their bags or not. Are they looking guilty? It's just brilliant. A really cool kind of gateway game that's going to get people into these kind of into that genre of games. But it's fantastic, and always a great time playing Sheriff of Nottingham. At number 14, I have Lords of Waterdeep. Now, Lords of Waterdeep is a worker placement game with a Dungeons and Dragons theme. Now, the theme is, well, the game itself is pretty abstract. There's not much theme in it. Basically, you're going to be placing your worker, picking up cubes, and those cubes let you complete quests, which in return get you points. Now, this game plays very smoothly and plays in a great amount of time, very little downtime, and is the player interaction kind of goes bases on kind of blocking players from certain spots, but there is a bit of take that as well with the intrigue cards. Now, this game really hits a sweet spot between kind of a gateway game but it also can satisfy more experienced players. Now, I do use this as a kind of bridge between the most kind of more, very casual games and more complex games. So it does fit a nice kind of niche in between those two areas. It's a very neat game, very streamlined. It's just really easy to pick up, and again, it's very easy to get to the table. It's my go-to worker placement game. It's not too overwhelming, and it's just very enjoyable. I like it a lot. So that's my number 14 best game of all time, Lords of Waterdeep. At number 13, I have Libertalia, which is a pirate-themed game based on, well, the main mechanic of the game is simultaneous card play, which again, I absolutely love. Now, the artwork of this game is absolutely fantastic. Some of the most amazing artwork I've ever seen. But I just love how engaging the game is. You're constantly going to be predicting what other people are going to play. And the way that the cards interact with each other is absolutely phenomenal. Some really cool mechanisms there. Now, I also love, as the game develops, people's kind of the cards that people have is going to be changing, because you can keep cards back and use them in later rounds. And so as the game develops, you're going to have a good amount of variability, and it's going to become harder and harder to predict what people are going to play. It's really good, very engaging, as I said. It plays an amazing amount of time, next to no downtime, and it fits the pirate theme really well. An amazing game, and one that I highly recommend again. You know, it's in my top 20 games of all time. That's Libertalia. At number 12, I have Marvel Legendary. Now, this is the game that got me into board gaming. I'm a huge Marvel fan, so I picked this one up, on the fly, and, I've been hooked on board gaming ever since. So Marvel Legendary is a deck building game, where it's a cooperative deck building game where you're going to work together trying to build a pool of superheroes to tackle a mastermind. And just thematically, this game is incredible. You can there's a huge variety of different scenarios you can play, and they're all very, very different. There are like 15 different expansions of this game, so you can play almost any superhero in the Marvel Universe. You can battle almost any mastermind. You can even play as the villains and fight good guys. It's the go-to deck building game, in my opinion. It's just, because it's so thematic, every card really fits the theme of the superhero it's supposed to portray. It's an amazing experience again. This is so thematic. The shuffle of the cards can be a bit cruel at times, because there are so many moving parts of this game. It's a bit of a ball ache to set up and pack away, but it's definitely worth it. A really great game, especially if you're a Marvel fan. But they do different versions of this game, including Alien and Predator. They got Firefly ones, and even a Buffy the Vampire Slayer one now. But the Marvel one is just incredible. The artwork is always great, as you would expect from Marvel. But it's just the stories that you can tell. You can really put these teams of superheroes together that you'd never thought you'd see fighting alongside each other, and it's brilliant. A brilliant game. That's Marvel Legendary. At number 11, I have Pandemic. Now, Pandemic, in my opinion, is a must-own game. It is the go-to cooperative game. The mechanisms of this game are so smooth. The way that the flow of the game fights against you, and you have to work together to maximise your moves, best use the abilities of each player. The theme of the game is fantastic, and it really comes through in the mechanisms. Just a real modern classic. Now, I think Pandemic is basically what modern board gaming is all about. Just so good in every way across the board. And if you haven't played this, you need to play it. There are so many different versions now, and it's just, the system is just flawless. It's brilliant. It's a brilliant game, and one that is going to be a cornerstone of board gaming for a long time to come, and rightly so, because it's just great. It's great. I'm very crap at this game, but I don't care. I just love the process of playing it, and I can just play again and again and again. So challenging, but when you win, it is so rewarding. It's an iconic game. That's number 11 is Pandemic. So that was number 20 through to 11 of my best board games of all time. I really enjoyed talking about those games. I love them all so much, and I just really want to play them now. They're all so different, and they all scratch a very different itch for me. And I just love that about board gaming, that there's a game for every occasion. Now, next episode, I'm going to be going into my top 10 games of all time. So please join me for that. I'm very excited. So I'll see you next time on Chairman of the Board. Bye.